Several blogs ago, I talked about different levels of consciousness. You could say different vibrations that human beings reside in. And what I've been talking about is how it can be challenging to relate. If you're in one level of consciousness and someone else is in another one, it can be challenging because you're literally experiencing the world differently. Like you can be in the same experience and you can be experiencing it differently because you're almost like in different dimensions or different realities. And so today I want to talk about levels of consciousness or vibrations, if you will, vibrating at different levels within us. Okay, so what happens is as we grow spiritually, we raise to higher levels of consciousness. So all of us have found a higher level of consciousness, at least for us, the highest level of consciousness that we reside in, and that's kind of where we can vibrate. We can live from there. Now, sometimes we might be in a ceremony or a meditation and we get a taste of a higher level of consciousness, but then we're down one and we're learning to integrate the higher one, and that's really good. But say it's either the one we're integrating or the highest one that we have integrated, those I'm going to call our higher level of consciousness. That's the challenge is when we get triggered or when we get in a mood or we get kind of what would I say? We get kind of frustrated. We might get into some self-pity. We might be not happy that we have to go to work, or something doesn't go our way. And so we're a little sour about life. What happens is that tends to drop our level of consciousness. Okay. If we're indulging in states of consciousness that we used to be in, and now or when we get triggered, then it lowers our level of consciousness. So what that means is I now experience life from that level of consciousness, and that is a challenge. It can be a problem because now, if I'm normally experiencing life up here, okay, life looks this way. It looks abundant. I'm free. I can. There's opportunities. It can be really great. I'm making it. I'm like living my life there. I'm enjoying life at a level, and I'm making a difference with other people. My vibration is interacting with other people's vibration and raising it. Just my mere vibration can make a difference in people's lives when they're in our energy field. So when we're lower, we're seeing the world differently. And now we have a whole different experience of life. It's a bit self-fulfilling. If I'm feeling sorry for myself, which, I can do that from time to time. If I'm feeling sorry for myself, then I start experiencing life from that level of consciousness. And then it reinforces it. It's like, yeah, your life really does suck, doesn't it? We start seeing out of the eyes of woe is me, and then it almost kind of just, it says yes, it validates it. And then we tend to stay in it. Okay, so then the practice that I'm going to recommend, okay, is, and it's pretty obvious, but the practice is to stay at our higher level of consciousness, to live from there. The counsel I just got, I was doing some ceremony by the creek, and the counsel I got is like, we need you up here. Like we need you to be living up at your higher level of consciousness. So how to be there. It might take a little energy, or it might be a discipline. Sometimes we're feeling a little cranky. We're not, and it's like, not today. I'm not going to be all spiritual and shit today. No. And so, but we pay a price for that because now we're living our life not at our optimal state of consciousness. And we're going to miss opportunities. We're going to not have as much joy. We're going to have more suffering. We're not going to make a difference as much as we would if we lived up here. So it just gets to be a practice. The way I learned at it, there's certain things I do, and I'm sure you do as well, that I naturally, before I do a session or before I do a ceremony or before I do a video, I I just, I don't even know how I do it, but there's something I do that I raise my level of consciousness so I can be at my best for the ceremony or the video or the session or the sharing circle. So I know how to do this. I raise myself. So the question gets to be, if I know how to do it there, why not do that all the time? Why not live from there? Why, like I can live up there, but then and between, maybe don't indulge in self-pity or crankiness or frustration or, whatever else. It's like I could just stay living up here. So now how do you do that? You will have to find a way, some type of, I think it's the ultimate spiritual practice is learning to live at your highest level of vibration. So you might do a meditation in the morning, or you do some yoga, or you go for a walk in nature, or you listen to some music, or you do some Tai Chi, or, whatever you do to maybe get you to that higher level of consciousness, and then you just stay there. And then when you notice yourself, it gets to noticing. I notice myself kind of going to sleep, or feel the example I've been using is feeling sorry for myself or being cranky. It's just like, whoa. I need to do an intervention. I need to do that thing I do and pull myself up into a higher level of consciousness again. And then we can live life from up here. Then this is where flow is. This is where we flow. This is where abundance is. This is where joy is. And sadness too, but more pure feelings of sadness. It's not like the story sadness of like, I tell myself a sad story and then I'm really sad. That's a secondary emotion, a secondary sadness. Or I tell myself how my boss sucks and how it's unfair. Now I'm angry. That's secondary anger. Now up here, I still feel feelings, but they're more the feelings of my interaction with life. I'm interacting with life directly, not through my head, not through my story. So I still feel feelings, but they're clear and they're pure feelings. And I'm not triggered, So that's the payoff. Speaking of triggers, if we get triggered, it's like noticing that we're triggered. A lot of times when we get triggered, we disassociate, we leave our bodies. So it's like grounding ourselves, getting ourselves back into, and it might take a little while, going for a walk, getting myself back in my level of consciousness, and then resume. So I'm living up here. So that is the invitation. It can be a little more challenging. It's such a simple concept and it makes such a huge difference, but yet to have that discipline and have it be genuine. It's not like, it's different than telling yourself, affirmations are great and mindset is great, but sometimes that stuff is contrived. It's like not all being like, oh boy, gonna go kick butt today, but that's fine. But it's finding a way to really raise your level of consciousness. And then like, how do you do that? Is it meditation? Is it yoga? What is it? And do I just pull up my energy like I do before a session? In doing that, so then it's a real level of consciousness living from there. So that is my video for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome week. And just maybe notice this week, like when you're in a higher level of consciousness and maybe when you're not. If your week is like mine, both of those happen. And there's no shame. Please don't beat yourself up when you're not in your highest level of consciousness. That's not the point. It's just noticing it and inviting yourself to come up here. And I will see you in a week.